So we are here with Doug Chamberlin, who gave the keynote address this morning, myth-busting in Hollywood. And Doug, perhaps you'd like to talk us through the first myth that you addressed, which is the Goldman quote that nobody knows anything. Is that true or false, Doug?
It's not entirely true. I think really how that should be taken is nobody knows what will be a hit. You can spend all this money on hiring big stars and big directors and big marketing budgets, and you can still wind up with a very expensive flop. But I think a lot of people misunderstand that and think that nobody in Hollywood knows a single thing. It's just complete randomness, like just rats running around a cage, and that writers there are doing nothing but just rolling the bones every time they write something. And I don't really think that's true. I mean, Steven Spielberg obviously knows something, right? Pixar, who has made one hit after another, they obviously know something. They aren't just spinning the wheel of fortune. And I think that writers, it's kind of dangerous to think that, for writers to think that nobody knows anything and therefore there's nothing I can do to try to further my career in Hollywood other than to just keep rolling the dice. I think maybe a more useful rule to help replace that myth is to think that Hollywood is really about perception. Perception in Hollywood is reality, and reality is perception. For instance, let's see. If you can get people to champion you in Hollywood, if you can get even a single person to be the first person in Hollywood to stick their neck out for you and say, I think this person's okay, that is going to help your perception immensely. Hollywood is sort of like a case of the emperor's new clothes. Nobody in Hollywood wants to be the first person to champion something. So if you can get that first person to go ahead and take a chance on you, suddenly everyone else will start coming out of the woodwork and saying, yeah, I always liked him too. I always knew he was good. I want to work with him too. And I think that is something you can bank on in Hollywood. That is something that people know. And the sooner that writers learn how to use that to their effect by learning the different ways that they can start to help generate heat for themselves, and heat being the commodity that everyone's career in Hollywood is really based on, the sooner they learn how to do that, the sooner they're going to have some control over their career.
So people know what works even if they can't always generate it the next time?
I think they don't necessarily know what's going to work as far as making a film or making a television show, but I think people do know what works as far as furthering your career. Absolutely.
And you talked a bit about the high school analogy, that sort of being a writer in Hollywood is a bit like being the nervous kid on the first day of school.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is something that my writing partner, Chris Webb, was always saying. He said this place is just like a big high school. In other words, when you first go to high school, if you're new there and you want to become popular somehow or at least be accepted, there's always that small clique of students who are the most popular students. Either they play football, or they're good-looking cheerleaders, or whatever it is, or they're just really witty and everyone looks up to them. Whoever those kids are, if you can get one of them to champion you and say, hey, Doug's okay, I like him, suddenly all the other students in the school will start coming out of the woodwork saying, yeah, well, he's my mate too, I always liked him too. And unfortunately, Hollywood does work that way. It's all about trusting the other guy's judgment, because everybody there believes that nobody knows anything, so therefore they'll just agree with what the other guy said. So if you can get one of those other guys to stick their neck out and say, I think this writer is okay, you will hit a new plateau in your career as far as acceptance.